what is understood as occult sciences, occultism, or occult arts. According to the dictionary, they are the mysterious practice and knowledge, such as magic, alchemy, astrology, etc., which, since antiquity, aim to penetrate and master the secrets of nature. By this definition, we wouldn't be far from what we understand as modern science disciplines want to know and be able to master it. Isn't that right? Indeed, one topic does not differ much from the other. Both seek knowledge, and despite what many think, their method is not that different. In fact, if we have modern science, it is thanks to the existence of these ancient disciplines that planted the seed for many modern sciences. Perhaps the clearest example is that of alchemy and modern chemistry. Surely some of you might think the occult arts are something negative or evil. Let's clarify that the occult sciences are science in that they seek to know, to extract knowledge, and at the same time, they are technology since they seek to master nature. Any technology, based on any knowledge, can be used for good or for evil, just as any tool can be used for good or for evil. Unfortunately, what has always been promoted about the occult sciences is the negative part, the use of the occult to destroy others, or force them everything negative done by occult practitioners with little ethics and level. And it keeps happening. We can see it in movies and on the internet. The occult is associated with the bad, the terrifying, and experiencing fear. Don't stick with that idea, as it is incorrect, just as the occult sciences should not be confused with the misuse made of them. They also should not be confused with mysticism. They are different things, or rather, different paths or ways to reach the same goal of personal realization. The occult sciences could be said to be a paradigm for understanding reality, a way of looking at reality that is different but complementary to mysticism, just like with modern science. In this episode, friends, we are going to present the main branches of the occult sciences. We will talk about magic, alchemy, astrology, and the study of the paranormal. When we speak of the occult sciences, as we said before, we refer to as that attempt to reveal the principles that govern reality, both visible and invisible, material and ethereal. Since human beings first walked the earth, they have sought to understand beyond what his senses. Let's see has evolved. Ancient civilizations Egypt, India, China, Greece, and later Europe observed patterns in nature, in the stars, and in the human soul. They began to recognize that there is an occult order, laws and correspondences that link matter, energy, and consciousness. The occult sciences as structured methods for exploring these laws, systems designed to guide those who were willing to study, practice, and perfect themselves. The term occult comes from the Latin occultus, which means hidden or secret. This does not imply that the knowledge is morally forbidden, but rather that it is veiled from ordinary perception and comprehension. For centuries, occult knowledge was transmitted with care through text symbols and initiatory teachings. The ancients understood such wisdom requires preparation, discipline, and ethical responsibility. One of the oldest examples of systematic occult knowledge comes from ancient Egypt. Priests in temples like Heliopolis and Thebes studied the movements of the stars, the cycles of the Nile, and the human body as part of a unified understanding of existence. They developed symbolic systems, hieroglyphics, numerology, ritual gestures to codify and transmit this knowledge. In Mesopotamia, scribes and astrologers meticulously observed the heavens. The movements of the planets and stars were recorded for centuries, giving rise to early forms of astrology and divination. These systems were deeply connected with governance, agriculture, and medicine, illustrating the practical importance of understanding hidden patterns. In the East, the Indian and Chinese traditions developed equally rich cult frameworks. Indian philosophy explored subtle energies, consciousness, and the nature of reality through yoga, tantra, and astrological systems. Chinese systems, including Taoist alchemy and I Ching divination, reflected a deep understanding of balance and energetic correspondences in nature and in human beings. The Greeks later codified much of this knowledge through philosophy, mathematics, and Hermetic teachings. Thinkers like Pythagoras, Plato, and the Hermetic tradition emphasized that the cosmos is structured by principles that can be observed, studied, and aligned. They introduced the idea of the microcosm and the macrocosm. Human beings are reflections of the universe, and in understanding ourselves, we understand the cosmos. During the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, the occult sciences evolved further. Alchemy, astrology, ceremonial magic, and mystical studies were integrated into a coherent vision of the universe. Thinkers like Paracelsus, Agrippa, and John Dee emphasized the practical and philosophical aspects of these sciences. The knowledge was codified in symbols, rituals, and texts, not to arbitrarily hide it, but to ensure that only those who were prepared and disciplined could access its deeper truths. And often, to avoid the stake, of course. The purpose of occultism was never simple curiosity or power for power's sake. Its goal was understanding, transformation, and the hidden laws of reality. Each branch, magic, alchemy, astrology, offers a unique lens for exploring existence. Magic provides methods for acting in harmony with natural laws. Alchemy teaches the refinement and transformation of the self. Astrology reveals patterns and rhythms that govern nature and human consciousness. The study of these sciences requires discipline, patience, and an ethical foundation. They are not simple techniques or hobbies. They are paths of understanding, inner growth, and greater awareness of the unity of the cosmos. The knowledge acquired is not only theoretical, it is experiential, requiring observation, meditation, and practice. Let's move now to the first classical branch of occult knowledge, magic. When most people hear the word magic, they usually think of tricks, illusions, or entertainment. Please do not confuse magic with illusionism. In the context of occultism, magic is the conscious application of will to influence reality, in harmony with the natural and spiritual laws of the universe. Magic, in its classic sense, the thought and energy are forces that interact with the world. It teaches that the mind is not separate from the universe, but is a microcosm that reflects the macrocosm. By understanding these correspondences, the practitioner can act with precision and clarity, obtaining results that align with the cosmic order. Historically, magic has been divided into two main categories: high magic and low magic. High magic, sometimes called ceremonial or spirituals, on internal transformation, the development of consciousness, and communion with higher intelligences. Low magic, also known as natural or practical magic, focuses on applying the knowledge of correspondences to influence tangible reality, healing, protection, or the attraction of desired results. One would be more philosophical and the other more applied. I don't entirely agree with this division, but I mention it because you will find it everywhere. In practice, everything is mixed, and the boundaries are not clear. Magic also has a deep history. In ancient Egypt, priests practiced rituals to communicate with the divine and harmonize the energies of temples, people, and the natural world. In Mesopotamia, incantations and ceremonies, were used to influence destiny and protect communities. In Greece, philosophical schools incorporated magic into their understanding of the cosmos, linking it with mathematics and the harmony of the spheres. During the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, magic intersected with alchemy, astrology, and theology. Scholars like Paracelsus combined medical practice with magical philosophy, using knowledge of herbs, minerals, and planetary correspondences to heal and protect. Throughout history, magic has evolved in civilizations, from the ceremonial rituals of the Renaissance to the natural magic of folk traditions. But it maintains a constant thread: the conscious application of intention and alignment with the hidden laws of reality. Magic is practical and philosophical, personal and cosmic, scientific and spiritual. What is more important is that in antiquity, knowledge was not specialized. In the present, knowledge is increasingly compartmentalized. But in the past, knowledge was a single thing. Magic was medicine, magic was religion, magic was a technology for hunting, just as it was many other things. Currently, magic is drawing on computer technology, modern science, psychology, and neurology. Magic has always known how to rely on all fields of knowledge that could help it, and it is no different today. The philosophy of magic teaches that human beings are creators within the universe. Our thoughts, emotions, and intentions carry energy that interacts with subtle and material forces. Magic emphasizes personal transformation. Rituals, symbols, and techniques are tools for refining consciousness. The practitioner develops discipline, focus, and clarity, becoming sensitive to energies and patterns that ordinary perception overlooks. Magic thus becomes both a practice of understanding the universe and a path towards self-mastery. Magic is not simply a set of techniques, it is a cosmovision. It teaches us that reality is interconnected, that mind and universe reflect each other, and that the disciplined practitioner can navigate the invisible forces that shape existence. Through magic, we learn to perceive, influence, and harmonize with the energies that underlie the cosmos, cultivating consciousness and personal transformation. Magic is the branch in which I have worked and currently work, as those who already know me are aware. Let's now move to the second discipline we will see in this episode. Alchemy, a branch of occult knowledge that has fascinated humanity for millennia. Alchemy is often misunderstood, associated solely with the quest to turn base metals into gold. However, this is only the surface of a much deeper and more complex tradition. True alchemy is the art and science of transformation, not only of matter, but of consciousness and the soul. Alchemy emerged in Hellenistic Egypt, especially in Alexandria, where Greek philosophy met Egyptian knowledge of chemistry, medicine, and spirituality. From its beginnings, alchemy was a holistic system. The alchemist's goal was not only to transmute metals, to understand the processes of nature and reflect them within themselves. Physical transmutation was a symbol of the refinement and perfection of the self. Chemical texts are full of symbolism. The processes of transformation are often described in stages. The first, nigredo or blackness, represents dissolution, chaos, and confrontation with the most basic instincts and ignorance. The second, albedo or whiteness, symbolizes purification, clarity, and the awakening of consciousness. The third stage, citrinitas or yellowness, reflects integration and understanding, and rubedo or redness. The final stage, culmination, wisdom, and spiritual perfection. Each stage is not only chemical processes, but also psychological and spiritual ones. Among the most important alchemists is Zosimos of Panopolis, one of the first to document the alchemical process as both a chemical and spiritual journey. Subsequently, Paracelsus integrated alchemy with medicine, viewing the human body as a microcosm connected to the cosmos, applying alchemical principles to heal not only the body but also the soul. In this way, alchemy became a bridge between science, spirituality, and psychology. Alchemical laboratories were not only places of experimentation, but also of meditation and reflection. By studying minerals, plants, and metals, alchemists observed how they were transformed under heat, pressure, and combination. These observations became metaphors for personal growth. Basic qualities could be refined, impurities removed, and hidden potential revealed. The philosopher's stone, alchemy's most famous symbol, represents the perfected self, the union of opposites, and the harmony between microcosm and macrocosm. Alchemical literature is intentionally symbolic. Dragons, snakes, and mystical figures encoded meanings only to prepared students. Alchemy also influenced psychology and spiritual philosophy. Carl Jung interpreted alchemical symbols as representations of the human psyche's journey toward individuation. According to Jung, alchemical processes illustrate the integration of the conscious and the unconscious, a map of inner transformation that reflects the alchemist's outer work. Historically, alchemy was practiced in secret, protected through allegories, metaphors, and coded language. It was a discipline for those committed to deep study, observation, and ethical application. The work required patience and discipline. Errors were common both in the laboratory and in the internal process of transformation, as the path of alchemy reflects the challenges of spiritual evolution. Practical applications of alchemy included metallurgy, medicine, and chemistry. Alchemists discovered acids, distilled substances, and advanced early pharmacology. This practical knowledge was inseparably linked to its spiritual framework. Every experiment was both material and symbolic, reflecting deeper understanding of the laws of nature. Alchemy also emphasizes balance and correspondence. The elements earth, water, air, and fire were not mere abstractions, but fundamental principles both in the cosmos and in the human body. Planetary influences, season cycles were integral to alchemical work. Time, intention, and alignment with natural rhythms, essential for both experimental success and spiritual development. Ultimately, alchemy teaches us that transformation is a universal law. Nothing remains fixed. Everything evolves, is purified, and seeks its highest expression. The alchemist's task is to observe, understand, and harmonize with these processes. By working with matter, symbols, and consciousness, the practitioner learns to refine the self, perceive the hidden order of reality, and consciously participate in the creative forces of the universe. Studying alchemy reminds us that true wealth is not gold, but knowledge, wisdom, and the perfection of the self. It is a reminder that the journey of inner transformation reflects the cycles of the cosmos, and that every stage from dissolution to integration has its place in the development of consciousness. Let's now move to astrology, one of the oldest and most influential branches of occult knowledge. Astrology studies the relationship between celestial movements and human experience. The patterns of the stars, planets, and cosmic cycles reflect the rhythms and archetypes of human life. Astrology has been practiced for thousands of years in virtually all civilizations. In Mesopotamia, priests and scholars meticulously recorded the positions of the stars, developing predictive systems for agriculture, politics, and social life. In Egypt, astrology was integrated into spiritual life and the lives of the pharaohs. The Greeks formalized astrology as a philosophical system, relating it to mathematics, geometry, and the harmony of the cosmos. Philosophers like Ptolemy synthesized astronomical observations with philosophical reasoning, creating frameworks that would influence science and occult practice for centuries. Astrology was not only predictive, it was a language for understanding the dynamics of the universe and of the human being. In the past, astrology and what we now understand as astronomy were confused and mixed. At the heart of astrology is the zodiac, a symbolic division of the sky into 12 archetypal signs. Each sign represents qualities, tendencies, and energies that manifest in human life. The planets are also symbolic agents. For example, represents action and energy, Venus reflects retraction and harmony, Saturn discipline and structure, and Jupiter expansion and wisdom. The interaction between planets, signs, and houses provides a map of the experiences and energies that influence an individual. Astrology also studies the planetary aspects, the angles that the planets form with each other, indicating patterns of interaction, conflict, or harmony. Timing is fundamental. Certain actions, rituals, or decisions are more effective if they align with cosmic cycles. Astrology thus offers tools for understanding opportunities, synchronicities, and personal resonances with greater forces. Historically, astrology was intertwined with magic, medicine, and philosophy. It determined the propitious moments but treatment to astral charts. Magicians aligned rituals with planetary hours to enhance their effectiveness. Astrology was not deterministic. It showed tendencies and influences, not fixed results. Furthermore, astrology serves as a symbolic language of consciousness. Studying planetary patterns develops the ability to prepare cycles in nature, society, and personal life. Over the centuries, various schools of astrology. Vedic astrology in India emphasizes karmic patterns, spiritual destiny, and alignment with Dharma. Chinese astrology combines lunar cycles, elements, and animal archetypes to guide decisions and understand personality. Western astrology, influenced by Hellenistic, medieval, and Renaissance traditions, focuses on planetary correspondences, natal charts, predictives. Each system a unique perspective, but all share the central idea. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. Astrology is also an experiential practice. Observing stars, calculating charts, and analyzing symbols develops precision, reflection, and sensitivity. With time, the practitioner learns to perceive patterns, synchronicities, and correlations between cosmic events and human experience. Thus, astrology becomes a tool for self-knowledge and a bridge to the understanding of universal order. In modern times, astrology continues to guide many people, not only as personal guidance, but as a philosophical framework for understanding cycles, opportunities, and human potential. Beyond the daily horoscopes we see in a newspaper, which have little to do with astrology proper, astrology constitutes a vast system of knowledge cultivated and refined over millennia. Its study requires patience, observation, and a willingness to integrate symbolic knowledge and direct experience. Astrology teaches us that we are not isolated in a random universe. We are part of a vast, interconnected system of energies, cycles, and archetypes. Studying astrology allows us to navigate life with consciousness, harmony, and intention. It is a mirror of consciousness and a guide to action, a map of invisible forces that shape our experiences. I invite you to reflect on the cosmic rhythms that surround us. Observe the lunar cycles, the planetary movements, and the influences of time. They are not abstractions. They are living patterns that are reflected in nature, society, and our own consciousness. As we reach the end of this first episode, let's take a moment to reflect on what we have explored. We have covered the classical branches of occult knowledge, magic, and astrology. Each offers a unique lens for perceiving and interacting with reality, but together they form a complete map of hidden truths, a guide to personal transformation and cosmic alignment. Magic taught us the conscious use of will and intention, demonstrating that our thoughts and actions are not separate from the universe. Through ritual, correspondences, and disciplined practice, the magician learns to align with natural laws, shaping reality through harmony rather than force. Magic reminds us that conscious focus and ethical application are essential in every act, a bridge between intention and manifestation. Alchemy revealed the profound art of transformation, not only of metals or substances, but of consciousness itself. Through its symbolic stages, alchemy illustrates the human journey from ignorance toward wisdom, from basic instincts to refined consciousness. The laboratory and the inner mind reflect each other, showing that spiritual evolution is inseparable from engagement with the material world. Astrology invited us to read the language of the cosmos. Stars, planets, and cycles are not distant abstractions. They are reflections of energetic patterns and archetypes that shape human life. By observing celestial movements, understanding cycles, and discerning correspondences, the practitioner obtains perspective, synchronization, and awareness of the interconnection between macrocosm and microcosm. The integration of these three branches creates a holistic approach to occultism. Magic offers methods, alchemy provides transformation, and astrology reveals cosmic patterns. They guide the practitioner toward mastery, not over others, but over the self, over consciousness, and alignment with universal laws. In modern life, these sciences may seem distant, obscure, or even fantastic, but their principles still remain relevant. We live in a world of patterns, signs, and energies. Our thoughts and actions generate ripples that affect reality in subtle and profound ways. By studying these branches, we cultivate sensitivity, ethical discernment, and awareness of the hidden dimensions of existence. The ancient teachings remind us that the pursuit of knowledge is inseparably linked to personal growth. True understanding is not just intellectual, it is experiential, incorporated into life through practice and reflection. Thus, the occult sciences are not relics of the past, but living paths toward wisdom and realization. They offer us tools for self-awareness, ethical alignment, and active participation in the great drama of the cosmos. As we bid farewell to this introduction, I invite you to bring these principles into your daily life. The conscious intention magic, the transformative discipline of alchemy, the sense of patterns of astrology. Until the next special episode, friends,